Did you know that Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm has a podcast and that we go live every week with a lineup of shows on BND TV? Head over to our YouTube channel today and subscribe for the latest in real estate, entertainment, education, and information. Here's what you missed last week.
Told me I can never miss a Monday. Hey, look, it's never miss a Monday. Hey, look, it's never miss a Monday. Hey, look, it's never miss a Monday. Coach told me I can never miss a Monday. Hey, look, it's never miss a Monday. Hey, look, it's never miss a Monday. Wine on Saturday, wine on Sunday. But Coach told me I can never miss a Monday.
Coach Mike, can you provide any tips on how to identify my sphere of influence as someone new to the real estate industry? Come on, that's like it came straight from the school, man.
Hey, you know what, Rick? And it's funny, again, it may have come from someone that was able to participate in the training that we did on last Wednesday, where I just really spoke to how to find your sphere of influence. So I'm so grateful that somebody wanted me to expound some more on that training that we did. So here's the reality, Rick. Some people, they call it sphere of influence. Some people call it database. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, it's you tapping into the people that you're already connected to, the people that you know, that already know you, that already like you, that already trust you. All right. So now what they mentioned, Rick, was new to the industry, new to the real estate industry. That's not really an issue, right? Because if you're born and raised, say you're born and raised Houston, your people are already here. So now it's just a matter of compiling them, and then consistently staying in front of them, reminding them that you do real estate and that if they need anything or if they know anyone that needs anything real estate, they've been thinking about real estate, they've been wanting real estate, they've been needing real estate, that you just have to remind them that you're a resource for them, right? Whether doing business with you or not. Ideally, yeah, you want to be able to do business with them. But before they can begin to do business, they need to know, they need to remember that you're here. So that's really what sphere of influence is all about. It's real easy to identify them. They're already there. Right. They're the people that already know you. They already like you. They already trust you. They already care about you for the most part. Now, this is where most people run into an issue, Rick. It's when they're new to an area. If they're new to the city, right? Then at that point, how do you build it? Like, I get that a lot. It's like, oh man, I'm new to Houston. I don't know nobody, right? Well, again, it's easy. We're in the people business, Rick. Right. We're in the people business. And all we're looking for is people that want some real estate, that need some real estate, that's been thinking about some real estate. We're looking for people that in that conversation that we have with them, we flesh that out. That's all we're looking for. So if you're new to a city, it just requires you to go out there and have real estate conversations with random people. You got to go talk to people that you don't know. And through you having that conversation with people that you don't know, you're looking for those key phrases. I've been thinking real estate. I've been wanting real estate. I've been needing real estate. Or I know somebody that's been thinking, wanting, needing real estate. All right, now you want to capture those people, Rick. And they're not your sphere of influence. They're your audience. Right? So anybody, when you go out there, you don't know them. But in the conversation, in the engagement, you flesh out they need, want, been thinking, or they know somebody that need, want, been thinking. You want to capture them and plug them into your audience. Right. So now you're going to build your audience, Rick. And with your audience, what you're going to do is you're going to stay in front of them. Mm-hmm. Right? So now as you're building your audience, as you're standing in front of your audience, you're providing them valuable information, the things that you come across, you're educating them, you're inspiring them, you're informing them. While as you're doing that, you're going to start doing business with people, right? You're going to start building relationships. You're going to start meeting people. Then your sphere of influence is going to begin to form because now you're building these relationships with this audience that you're continuing to build, right? So it's still a similar format. It all requires people, and it all requires you going out every day, having real estate, as many real estate conversations as possible.
You know, it's outstanding. And, you know, that's one of the things that you talk a lot in your mentorship is having real estate conversations daily. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing how these lessons build on top of each other.
Right.
That's why it's so important that everyone in the Monday Night Live audience take some time to go to the B&D TV channel on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and look at some of those past training, because it's almost like mathematics in a way.
Yes.
One lesson builds upon the next lesson, which builds upon the next lesson. So I urge everyone in the audience to please take Coach Mike's advice, have those real estate conversations on a daily basis. And if you feel like you need assistance as far as how to break the ice, go back, listen to those trainings about sphere of influence, because Coach Mike did a great job of giving you reasons and opportunities to have real estate conversations and how to get and ask those probing questions that could get to the point where you can have an idea of what it is that someone truly needs from you from a real estate advice perspective.
Yeah, Rick, we say it all the time, man. And I know I say it all the time. This business is easy, right? I know when people hear me say that, they kind of cringe on the inside, like, nah, man, you only got 12% people doing 10 deals a year. You know, the bottom 33% of realtors, they do one, really 50% of realtors that are members of the Houston Association of Realtors do one or less deal a year. Like, what do you mean this business is easy? It's easy. The formula is easy. I would say the formula is simple. Let's say that. It's simple. But it's the reason that it's harder than it needs to be is because we overthink it.
Right.
We overthink it, right? But it's a very simple approach. Every day, leave your house and go talk to as many people as possible, right? Bring up real estate, have a real estate conversation with them. And the numbers are going to deliver to you what you're looking for, which is having conversations with people that are thinking, knowing, or wanting to buy real estate. Like it's simple to ignite
Absolutely. No, take Coach Mike's advice. You'll get a jump start in your career, and you'll be surprised how success will come to you a lot quicker than you anticipated if you heed Coach Mike's advice and start having a number of real estate conversations on a daily basis. So,
Absolutely.
Look, for all those that are new in the audience, for those first-time viewers, we thank you so much, man. We hope you're enjoying Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show so far. We have other really exciting questions from our audience coming up, so let's get to question number 2.
Let's do it.
Coach Mike, what are some best practices for a situation where my client needs to sell their current home to buy their dream home, but there are concerns about the property not selling in time and the fear of having 2 mortgages, among other concerns?
Wow. You know what, man? That is a very real scenario, Rick.
Absolutely.
You know, there are many people, they come into the business and they purchase their home. It's never intended to be their dream home. It's always been, you know, a starter home, an opportunity to begin to generate and build wealth, that build equity. They could use that equity to help them transition to the next phase. But then when you have situations like what we're experiencing now, where, you know, the interest rates are increasing, purchase prices aren't adjusting, it's pricing people out of the market, right? So it's a shift. Well, you run into scenarios like this where it's like, well, I want to sell my house and I can capitalize and maximize off of where home prices are now, but I won't be able to buy another house because the interest rates are going to be too high. So we run into that scenario. Well, you know, there are resources in the marketplace, and, you know, I definitely want to shout out what I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Real Estate Out the Box, where I go live on Instagram, Rick, and I deliver different tools and resources like the one that I'm going to talk about now, different tools and resources that'll speak to that problem that homeowner may have as it relates to, or that concern that homeowner may have as it relates to buying another house with the fear that the house that they live in will not have sold and they'll have 2 mortgages. So there's one company that we have experience with. It's called Homeward. And what Homeward allows you to do, and I actually just recently spoke about them on Real Estate Out the Box. So you can go to my Instagram and look at some past posts and you'll see me talk about Homeward. Homeward, what they'll do is that you find a house that you like, you get approved through their program, they'll actually go purchase the house on your behalf. So they secure it. They allow, and they're going to purchase cash. So it makes you more competitive when competing against other people that are vying for the same house that you're vying for. Homeowner's going to secure the house. Then you're going to be able to move into the house, right? So now you've moved out of your house that you're trying to sell, which we all know as real estate professionals, Rick, is going to make it more marketable, easier to market.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to put the house in a position for us to sell it quicker, right? Well, when doing that, now you don't have that frustration and that stress on your shoulders about having two mortgages. Now you
Mhm.
focus on selling the house, marketing the house, making the house available, right? Listening to your real estate professional and letting them do
Mhm.
what they need to do, get the house sold. Once you sell the house and now you pull the equity out of it, now you go and you purchase the house from Homeward,
Mm.
and boom, you ready to go. So that's just one example of the many. Right now my toolkit of resources, Rick, I have over 50 non-traditional tools and resources that I speak to, that I pull from, that I expose to my agents to help them help more people with whatever their real estate needs are. So people are going to want to connect with you. They want to learn more about you. So where can they find you on social media?
Yes, absolutely. So my personal social media is going to be Miss, that's MS underscore, and my last name, as you can see on the screen, that's Mayberry, Mayberry. And also I have now created a business Instagram page, and that is Mayberry, my last name, underscore black, like the color.
Awesome,
And so,
awesome, awesome. So I know they're going to want to connect with you and everything. So look, like I said before, the Realtor Life podcast is about passions. Like, what are you into? So I'm gonna start you off like I start off all of our guests. What hobbies or activities are you or your family a part of?
So hobbies, me personally, I just enjoy working out. I like to be pretty active. So I probably work out maybe 4 to 5 times on a good week. And then also my father owns a custom home building company as well. So sometimes I'm out there in the field and, getting a little dirty with my boots on from time to time. And yeah, those are kind of some of the activities that I'm heavily involved in at this time.
Awesome. So working out. So what is it about working out? What what does that do for you?
Honestly, a lot of different benefits for me personally. So it helps me escape. I was pretty active, in school, in high school. I danced, I ran track a little bit before I really started dancing. And, I like to do yoga, Pilates, stretching. Sometimes I have a little dog. She's in here with me now, so you guys may hear her from time to time. But, going to the park with her, it just helps me kind of, just keep everything balanced.
Absolutely. So you have your little fur baby, your fur parent.
Yes, she's here. She's here.
Awesome.
My little shadow.
So what it sounds like, Ashley, is you got into being active. It kind of translated from when you were younger, you were into sports and things like that. So talk to us about the dance. Like, what kind of dance did you do, and what attracted you about dance?
That's such a good question, Mr. Davis. I started ever since I can remember, probably about 5. My mom put me in ballet classes. I think it started out as one of those school activities, after school activities and summer activities. And I did that. I did ballet probably up until I got in middle school. And then I briefly transitioned to being a cheerleader. So I was a cheerleader all through middle school. And then when I got into high school, I didn't really want to cheer anymore. I wanted to do dance. And so I went to school here in Houston. And we did more of like drill team, competition type dance. So we would travel all over different states. I won some nice awards from dancing. And then even when I graduated high school, I started to audition for actual, like the Texans. I made the finalist round for Texans. That was probably in maybe 2014 or 15 or so. And so, yeah, I've just kind of always liked to do that as a hobby. It's pretty fun.
Awesome. So wow. So you applied to be one of the on the Texas dance team. So tell us about that. Tell us about that experience. I'm sure that it was a new experience for you. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was cool. I did Texans and I did the Rockets Power Dancers. I got furthest along to, like I said, the final rounds for Texans. And I was used to competition dancing anyway. So that experience was pretty fun. We got to, I took it. I was pretty extra. So I had a custom outfit made from one of our old family tailors that's been in our family for a long time. And it was cool. It was probably about 500 girls. I remember having a small segment on ABC News for all of the final dancers that made it. So that was like, I feel like one of those stories I'm going to tell my kids, like, look, I didn't make the team, but your mom was a finalist. Okay.
Yeah.
Out of like 500 girls.
I was this close.
Yes. So, but yeah, it was pretty fun.
Awesome. So do you see yourself like now as you're, maturing into your career and things like that? Do you still see a place for dance, maybe coaching, maybe as an instructor, maybe as a consultant? Do you see any of that?
For a long time, I always thought like, okay, maybe I'll be like a dance mom. There used to be this show back in the day that used to come on. I can't say that I'd probably start coaching. I'm still very close to my dance coach personally. But I probably, if I do get back into dance, it'll probably just be something that I do on the side, like maybe take some hip hop and heels classes or something like that. Or maybe, I don't know, I might teach a class or two. That's one of those things a lot of people probably don't know about me until I actually tell them.
Yeah, no, I didn't know, right? So, so we definitely appreciate you sharing that with us and sharing that with our audience as well.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the? So we know we talked about you working out and you doing yoga. Is there anything else that you maybe are into and you use as a release to as you we all need a release as it relates to our career. So do you have anything other than that, or is that what you go to?
I feel like I'm in a space now in life where things are transitioning. When I have the time, and it's not working out, right? Because I feel like nowadays life is all about time management. And so, prioritizing those things, I definitely prioritize working out at least 4 times a week. But some of my more leisure activities that I like to do when I do have time is I might journal, or I like crossword puzzles. I don't know if a lot of people are still into that, but I love crossword puzzles. I love reading comic books, and I like doing actual physical puzzles. So I'm working on a puzzle right now my best friend got me, and I honestly, I took the whole puzzle apart because it had been sitting on my floor for so long, and it was giving me like this anxiety because I hadn't completed it yet. So I was like, this is supposed to be a leisure activity, and it's stressing me out right now because I haven't finished it. So, but I do enjoy puzzles and crosswords and stuff like that.
How about that? So crossword puzzles, regular puzzles, comic books. Now let's jump into that. Like we're not gonna skate past that.
I feel like a little nerd talking about comic books.
we're not gonna skate past that. So you're in the comic books. What is it about comics books that attracts you?
I think it just helps me stay connected to like the inner child in me. And I started, I started reading comic books when I lived in Memphis, and my parents used to have the newspapers delivered to the house. And so every time, my mom would be like, go out there and get the newspaper. And I didn't care at the time when I was younger what was actually in the newspaper. I used to just flip through it, grab the coupon section from my mom so she could have me cut out the coupons. And then I would actually start seeing the cartoon characters and comics inside of the newspaper. And then I think I just kind of took an interest in that, and I just started actually getting comic books and reading them. Yeah.
Well, it looks like you're not alone, man. We're getting people in the comments saying that they have a actual comic book collection. So are you one of those, man? Comic-Con comes here, you put your unit, your outfit on, man, and you go to Comic-Con and you be
I can't say that I'm a collector of comics, but if I like probably maybe a couple of months ago, I remember my boyfriend, we've been like together for close to 7 years, and he was just like, I didn't even know this about you, because we were in the grocery store and I love the Archie comic book stories. So when I saw it in the little, checkout stand, I grabbed it. And he was like, "You grabbing a comic book?" And I was just like, "Yeah, like I like comics." And Archie was one of my favorite ones growing up. So yeah.
Wow. And look, we learn about one another all the time, don't we?
That's right.
Right. So is Archie your favorite, or do you have a favorite? So Archie's your favorite.
Archie is my favorite. I love Archie. Like I loved when he transitioned from like a little boy into like high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Archie, that's my dog.
So you've seen Archie grow up.
Yeah, I have.
That is good stuff. That is phenomenal stuff. All right. Well, awesome. So let's pivot a little bit. So you got into real estate, right? Mm-hmm. What is it that attracted you about real estate? What made you want to get into it?
Man, so you started off making a really good point at the beginning when you were saying a lot of people right now, we're in a space where real estate is hot. I feel like real estate has been hot for a minute. Mm-hmm. And I'm a newbie in the real estate game, is how I like to say it. My father, he's been building since I was a baby. I'm 31 years old. My father's new home business has been operating for 31 years. And so I was always somewhat in the background of real estate, but because of who I am in terms of just being a people person and really wanting to pivot and even transition into a different career myself, I was like, let me really give real estate a try, because it seems as though being a real estate professional allows me to do some of the things that I'm naturally passionate about. And I felt like it would go hand in hand. So I was like, why not? And I got a lot of feedback from colleagues like, why aren't you a realtor? Like, that makes a lot of sense for you to do that. So I was like, you know what? All right, let me just go ahead and listen to this little voice in my head and get into it.
Absolutely. And look, I'm one of those people that give feedback too. Like, you got
in an empty office. The answer to the housing crisis, man, there's been a lot of stuff going around as far as like the shift in commercial real estate, a lot of empty buildings, downtowns, and a lot of cities and stuff like that. So what are y'all thoughts on that? And could that possibly be the solution? That they're doing some stuff in San Francisco.
Well, man, there's a
home office.
They converting buildings, like they converting, like say for instance, like malls. Like you got all these empty malls, so it's like, how can we turn that into a housing unit?
Yeah,
right? The conversion piece. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think humans act like they're not creative enough sometimes.
Right, like,
yeah, because I mean, you got to be creative. Like if you got this building that this original design was for one thing, and now you're saying, all right, well, we got to convert it to this. Like that takes some level of creativity.
It does. Yeah. You know what I would do?
And money.
I would petition influencers to live in the mall. They like being on camera anyway. They like giving a show. Like, it's every day a show. Like, people come in to see you. That's a great idea. I need to pay
that sounds like a zoo.
Okay, look.
Call it what you want. I bet you somebody's interested.
Look, it is a zoo. You get online, it's a zoo. We just looking at them.
Right.
Yeah. Depending on how much boys paying. Like, so how much, but the person would have to pay. But Shay, that goes against what we talking about though. Like, we talking about using it as a way to address the housing crisis.
They can live there, but everybody can see.
No, but we need people that don't have the opportunity. Like, it's about quantity. Say, like getting multiple people. Like the influencers got money, man. Everybody don't have it. We talking about for the people that ain't got no house.
They live off of free stuff.
People don't care.
You don't think they care?
I don't think people care to solve that problem, because it's like, this is 2023.
Those investors do.
We got things.
Only if it make money.
Only if it make money, because we dealing with that now with the city and then investors.
No, I'm saying those who've already invested in the buildings, who are sitting there with empty spots, offices and spaces.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's a problem for them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people who are working from home and things like that. So what are they going to do with these buildings? And, the type of buildings.
So I'm kind of with Shay. Be creative. And Mike, be creative. Some of those empty buildings that are vacant for months and months or a year, let the influencers influence the building, advertise it. The free
But
advertising.
you're gonna still have like how
You
homeless
got to
people.
convert it though. Yeah, like you're gonna still have to convert it to where it's habitable. Because right now they just shells.
Because then they have like restrictions on windows and all kinds of stuff that you gotta, have all of that. So.
And then see, look, here's the real. Here's why it's really not gonna be taken care of. Because these millionaires and billionaires that own these buildings, they use them as write-offs. Like they good with them buildings taking a loss because they can write it off against profits that they earning somewhere else.
Gotcha, yeah.
That's probably why a lot of them just sitting on them.
Yeah, I read somewhere that that's how the hoods became the hoods.
How did the hoods become the hoods?
Yeah, because white wealthy investors went to the red line places where only black people were able to live, bought up a bunch of properties, let them go bad, but was still getting the tax write-off because they own the property, but it's not making any money. So that's how the hoods became the hoods.
I could see that. I can see it. So they were deliberately not investing anything in those properties to keep them up because they was able to capitalize off of them being dilapidated and taking losses. See how they do us?
Yeah.
So that's why I said I don't think they care enough to add more housing because there's so many buildings.
They don't really care about us.
So what if it's not how? Well, I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting. I don't get out much, and y'all may be very familiar with it. But I saw a Whole Food spot. So I guess I don't know where I was, somewhere downtown, midtown, one of those towns here in Houston, and it had like apartments on top of the Whole Food. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, I don't know if they could do a little situation like that, turn the bottom in, maybe it's the mall. And I think the Galleria has what they have hotels up there.
Yeah, they got a hotel. They got condos in there too.
Yeah, those
and
are called mixed-use buildings.
Yeah, they got office suites in there too in the Galleria.
Yeah.
But they started doing that, I want to say in San Francisco, where the building has places for the employees to live, but they don't get a check. Like everything's coming out of their check. So at the end of the day, your 40 hours, you work hard, but you only
What you need to pay for? We got everything here for you.
We got everything for you, bro. If it's grocery, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's how it used to be. Like if you go back, it's funny too, because if I'm an employer, I absolutely want my employees to live at the place, right? So if you think back to the turn of the century when they started creating all them factories and them factory towns and all that, that's really what it was about. Like they had a store, like they had the house, they had a store, they had all that stuff, but they wouldn't have to pay for nothing. They wouldn't have to pay for no food. They wouldn't have to pay no rent, but it was deducted out of their check.
That's how Texas City was started.
Yeah, and Sugar Land. So
Look at that
look,
knowledge.
they doing it.
Right.
They doing a lot of that in California though, just because California ain't got no more land.
Yeah. Okay.
Texas got a whole lot of land. We just keep spreading out.
That's facts. Well, yeah, that's where I read it up in San Francisco. I think it was something like that.
I know in New York they're turning a lot of old hotels into housing
Because they ain't got no more land.
and I think it's easier to convert hotels into.
It's easier. Well,
because they have those bathrooms, so they have a water supply. They can make a little kitchenette, and convert that easier than like an office building. We gotta get the water to come into each little unit and get a bathroom today.
Or you can have a community shower like they do.
Like a hostel.
I can't do it.
Like a hostel, baby.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, sometimes it's better than living on the street.
It's good for a college student. It's good for an adult.
So we want to give people dignity.
What that mean? What you mean that's not dignity?
Better
They
than
don't live there. They have a choice.
yeah.
It's better than living on the street. They get it more dignity than living on the street.
Yeah, worse than
And then you have people that the travelers that travel to different countries, they stay in hostels because they're just passing through, whether they're there for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever.
Nomads.
They're not.
I looked at a hostel.
Yeah, you know.
They're not nice. Unless you like used to people living all up on
It's a temporary place to stay. It's
So
not
you just need somewhere to lay your head.
Yeah,
exactly.
man, that's the idea.
But
Like,
you gotta keep your eyes open.
the hostile is a more affordable option, bro. Like, it ain't about, if you want something nice, man, yeah, you go stand over
Yeah,
there.
you gonna get
Looking
up
for a
there
little
on your
manger.
kitchen, bed bugs.
You just coming for the experience.
Temporary.
Or you gonna have to have like sleep with a hammer on your chest.
They
You don't
could-
know some weirdos in there.
Well, you have to do that in some neighborhoods you live.
Okay.
You do. That's true.
It's a hostile neighborhood.
Hostile.
In your own house.
You got a
A real estate going wild. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'd like to introduce this week's guest. She is not only a highly successful, top producing realtor here in the greater Houston area, but she is also the president of the Young Realtors Division Houston. I want to thank her so much for sitting in with us, and I'd like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Miss Atia Willis.
Oh my goodness. I did not need them to say that about me. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy I'm here.
No, I want to thank you so much, man. No, because Larry and I, we always get a especially warm and fuzzy feeling on the inside anytime we have a guest on the show for the second time. So thank you so much for sitting in with us. For those in the audience who had an opportunity to meet you and see your first interview, it's been maybe about a year and a half or a couple of years. So what's been going on in your world? How have you been building your brand? And how has your company evolved since your first visit here on the Prime Real Estate Network?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, whenever I was on, it was about almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was new. But now I've taken on a different approach to real estate, which is being an activist and being in the community and making sure that not only new real estate professionals have the guidance, but I'm preparing our youth for this career because we want to see more of us in it.
That's right. Now the cool thing is that you have become Madam President since we had an opportunity to sit down and interview you before. So could you talk about the position that you're holding with the YRD, some of the responsibilities that come along with that position, and what motivated you to step up and take on a leadership responsibility so early in your career?
Yeah, so what motivated me and what continues to motivate me is the leadership team. I couldn't do this without any of the leaders, the executive team that is part of YRD. We push each other. I always say that if you have a vision and you feel like you can accomplish it on your own, your vision, your dream isn't big enough. Teamwork, leadership is important, and you need to go mountain high. And the only way to successfully do that is with a team. So it's because of them.
Now, the cool thing is that YRD is an organization that not only Larry and myself like to support, but Brooks and Davis Real Estate firm as an organization like to support that. So, Mr. Brooks, what are some of your experiences with YRD, and why is it that YRD is an organization that you've always supported and that you always would like to lend your talent and time to?
Yeah, man. You know, the thing is that I've had an opportunity and I've been a part of it, but the Houston area, we just did a rebranding probably about a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe just about a year now, right?
Yeah.
And you know what's amazing about it is the energy of the people that are on there now. The leadership team, everyone from Yolanda said, that's as far as I'm going. I'm not going to leave out anybody else, but the leadership team is amazing. And the thing is they're putting in the work, right? There's so many things. And when I say putting in the work, they're putting together the right organizations, everything from athletic events, networking and socials, to sitting down in the classroom and learning and networking and gathering information from each other. And I just think when you get to growing like that, it's bigger than just here in Houston, right? So even the other chapters are starting to grow because of the energy and the dialogue. And what's super important about it is it's keeping our youth involved, right? And I know when we think real estate, we don't just think of, we're not talking about youth like 20-year-olds. We're talking about our youth that's in our 30s, our youth that's in our 40s. You're still keeping us engaged as we get to bigger levels of this industry and as we support each other. So I commend YRD for everything that they do. And they are amazing. Like, they're one of the strongest organizations in the city of Houston and nationally when it comes to us as realtors.
Now I gotta ask, so Atia, so Larry mentioned a rebranding. So could you just share with our audience a little bit about the rebranding, why you guys felt it was necessary, and what type of interaction or what type of um, what type of direction are you guys trying to take the organization now?
So we are a NARAB organization in our local chapter, which is HBREA. We're an affiliate. We're like the child of HBREA. Houston did not have a young realtist division, and so we had to launch one because HBREA is one of the top local chapters in the U.S. So if that is being said, then they had to come up with, hey, why does LA have a YRD? Why does Memphis? Why does Chicago? Houston needs to have one. And I'm honored that in that room of powerful people, they thought of Houston and they thought of me leading it. So I'm honored, I'm blessed. And I have to say this, I have to explain what the word youth means. So with NARAB, youth means three things. It means young at age, young at heart, and young in the industry. So that can be anyone. So that's why I say young is so broad.
Yeah.
You know, the great thing that about the organization that you're leading currently that I was so impressed with when I was doing my research leading into your interview is the initiatives that you guys have that you guys have on the front burner that you guys are pushing every day. So could you share a little bit about some of those initiatives because they're really ambitious and the goals that you guys have for the organization, how you're going to affect the community or something that I would really love if you would share with our audience.
Absolutely. Our mission is to empower and educate our youth in real estate careers in financial literacy, not only the youth, but the communities. And we also have a program which is Tomorrow's Leaders. And our job is to also empower those realtors who are new to the industry that look like us and know that they have that support. And for our youth program, it's called Young Entrepreneurship Program, where we actually go inside of the schools. It's from 9th grade to 25 years of age, which means we're going into the colleges as well. I don't know about y'all, but I was in college and I didn't know what LLC was, what credit was, building a house. I didn't know that there were so many careers in real estate. I never even thought I'd be here as a realtor and leading activist in this type of organization. But I am, and I'm so glad that I went through that journey. But I would have loved to known it in high school and college. What is so, because it's so important. It's building generational wealth. So we have to go back to our youth and educate them.
Have to, and just to add to what you're saying, I had no idea either. And I remember, and I'm one of the very few people that you'll meet that literally started their career in real estate. My very first career was real estate, and then it's carried on to where I am now. But I did not know about this. I got exposed to it in college and it just blew my mind. And it's funny because things like entrepreneurship, you never heard people talk about. So like you said, getting back into the classroom, letting the youth know that something like this exists, it could give them such a fast track to what life could really look like for them when it comes to creating wealth for their families. I always like to tell people, for most people, when they get ready to get into entrepreneurship, they're usually refinancing a property that they have, grabbing their equity and doing two things with it, either sending kids through college that way, or they're taking that money and investing into their vision, their dream, a business-minded ideal that they have. So